What up guys, it's your boy Kevin Yee the Farm D, aka Kevin the Refugee. Today I have a guest for you. He's the one and only Broke the Habit. Some of y'all might know him as Peter. He's grown a 10K subscriber following without being a hot girl. If you guys are interested in knowing how to grow a YouTube channel, this video is a must watch. We also go into topics about bullying, depression, and honestly suicide. So this is a real ass video and I hope you guys enjoy it. Take care. Lego, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're live. What up guys, it's Kevin Yee, the Refugee, aka Kevin Yee, the Farm D. And today I have the one and only Peter AKA Broke the Habit. That's right.
Was Gotchu.
Thank you for coming on my channel. First thing, I just want to congratulate you. 10K. How does it feel to finally have a big dick? And tell me about what you're feeling right now.
Because we pretty much talked about this in my part, my episode, but like
shameless plug right here.
Shameless plug. Check it out my channel, youtube.com/BrokeTheHabit. But like I feel it's pretty much how it's a parallel with my age. How I just turned 25 was like, oh okay, what now? Because for me, like 10,000 subscribers, the reality is like maybe half of those are dead or like not active. But 10,000, looking back, you should watch my video on my channel, my recent one, how to get 10,000 subscribers. I literally have a poster next to my bed that I sleep on, and it's like 1,000, 2,000, 3. I crossed it off, and I wrote the dates. So it went from 2015 till now. It's been a struggle and a journey, a lot of tears, but I finally felt like people are starting to respect me now as like a creator.
I think that's a huge milestone. Honestly, I thought I wanted to hit it by December. Not even fucking close. I'm not even halfway there. But I just want to give you big props because it's not like a really easy task. You know what I mean?
Especially as a guy.
Yeah.
Not to sound sexist, but
that's why like IG models and stuff, they always get hella followers.
Yeah.
Girls and guys like watching girls. But what were some of the strategies that you used to get to 10K?
I can't tell you all because I might have an e-course out soon.
Dang! Freaking shameless plug. Guys, if you want to check out Peter's 10K course, link is right here.
Give me your email.
Affiliate link is over here.
So my first strategy from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I'm probably talking like way too close. First strategy was like the first video I did was a how-to. Right? You want to give value. Mm-hmm. The first thing I did was a haircut video. I don't even know. I remember I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put it up, and then next thing you know, it's like, wow, 1,000 views. That's my very first video. I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Second video. There was this Asian kid that just goes ham. It's one of those viral videos. So I'm like, how about I do a reaction video? And this was before they even got big.
Yeah.
So I did it. I think it was like Christmas. Literally overnight, 10,000 views. I'm like, wow, YouTube, this thing's kind of easy. But then like after those first two like one-hit wonders, I started to realize, oh, how hard it got. So I would say the first 3-4 months I did a lot of how-to, right? Because that's how like I understood search from the very beginning. So how to blank, how to get good grades, how to lose weight. So that was like my first strategy.
Yeah. And how did your strategy evolve from there? Because I know that you do definitely a lot more than how-to videos nowadays.
I think the thing is I'm still trying to figure it out. Like I know like YouTube guru. Like I still do random. It's a combination of like finding what search terms are like people are searching up, mixed in with like the competition. So one of the reasons why a lot of my recently popular videos are like titled Vancouver is because it's very niche. There's not a lot of YouTubers in Vancouver, so you search Vancouver, you see my face.
Yeah.
So it's like I pretty much quote Gary, like you go for the white space and you make your content mixed in with like once in a while with like a reaction video here and there, or like whatever's trending.
Yeah. I think that's actually really important is like Tim Ferriss says this all the time. He says create your own niche, find a space where you can just dominate rather than always compete, and you'll be looked at as the expert, you know, and
Get to the chopper.
get to the chopper. Let me ask you though,
Shameless plug.
tools.
Everything.
Peter's affiliate link is in below.
Everything.
Let me ask you, like, what's the value that you add to? What's that value that you add to your viewers and stuff?
I would say from the very beginning, I didn't have like that understanding of like value for value, but now more recently, it's more along the lines of like seeing how once I told my story of like growing up in I still grew up in like a broken home, but I kept getting these DMs of like, hey Peter, thanks for sharing your story. Like I'm 15 years old, my mom and dad, blah, 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 this and this. I'm like, your story really touched me. So I feel like me having the courage to just tell my story of how I didn't grow up like the norm, that's how I give my value, to share my own personal stories, to know that it's okay that you're going through so-and-so, because there's so much other people, chances are you're going through the same thing.
And I think that's actually why our channels are actually very similar too, because I do the exact same thing. I just share my stories and just let people know it's fucking okay to be weird, you know?
Yeah, like even from like okay, just to backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of the videos that I got popular because like I did the whole Asian guy white girl thing.
Oh my god. Yeah.
That is a trending topic. I'm so like keen on like what's getting searched. I'm like, yo, I just go to like campus, ask the girls. I bang out 3 videos in one day.
Yeah.
It's like, does height matter? Asian guy, white girl. What do you think about bald guys? And I'm like, oh, 100K views done. But then it didn't give me that fulfillment, whereas like my whole channel is based on like validation through me, not other girls. So it came like this vicious cycle of like I get guys who like nasty weird guys that like that comment the weirdest stuff, and like I don't want this crowd. I want like more like the self-development like me, and that's where like I shifted in terms of content.
Yeah, and I think sometimes like it helps like to distinguish content. Sometimes like I put content in 2 buckets sometimes, like one, what's the one that's gonna get the most exposure, and then one that's just for like the fans, you know, the true 1,000 fans and stuff like that. But let me ask you, let's backtrack a little bit. Like you're talking about like you grew up in a different household and stuff like that. Tell me a little bit about your upbringing and stuff like that.
So pretty much my parents ever since I remember like were working, so they were never around from like 0 to now. And pretty much my grandpa and my grandma babysat me, and I was pretty much in front of the TV for the most of my life. And I like once in a while I have like a Debbie Downer and I just cry about it, but it's like things like I never got to spend like birthdays with my parents or like Christmas. And the thing of like I've always see people on their Facebooks and like, oh, we're celebrating Christmas, and here I am like just in my room chilling while my parents are working on Christmas Day. So I came from like that low income, like that huge chip on my shoulder where it's like my parents were never around, and when they were around, it's like abusive. They're like your typical like tiger parents kind of parents.
So would they hit you with a slipper or a feather duster?
It's always a rainbow feather duster. The end too. The end of it.
That's the real question right there. No, but I totally feel you on that, man. Like for the first like growing up, like I was also raised by my grandparents as well. And my mom, she tried so hard to be there with me half the time, but it's tough, man. Like when some people just don't understand, you know what I mean? Like that upbringing when you don't have your parents around you, or your parents are just away from you, you know? It gets very lonely and sometimes. But I look back on it now that I'm a lot older, I look back on it, I'm just like, damn, they sacrificed so much for me. And even though my dad was like abusive and stuff, like honestly, he was probably going through hell at the time too. So I have a little bit more of understanding as well.
Same. Like pretty much like even to this day, like my parents don't really get what I'm trying to do. Yeah. But whenever I think of like hard work and discipline, like they sacrificed 20 years of it and they never complained. And so whenever like I complain about like, oh, I'm sitting at this desk too long, I'm like bored with my life. I'm like, Peter, what the hell are you bitching about? Like your parents worked 20 years so they can support you. Like, think about things that matter. So they pretty much keep me in check.
Yeah, and I think like for me too, like I think about like when you're talking about your parents never complained, I think about how hard my family worked to get here and to really get us established. And they worked too fucking hard for me to be miserable, dude. We didn't come to America just to like be slaves and shit, you know what I mean? We came for a bigger vision to make my life a lot better and future generations too, you know? So I always try to keep myself checked in that way.
Like, that's where I like would play devil's advocate and be like, that's why there's so much Asian kids doing the jobs to be successful, right? The doctors, the lawyers, but they're not happy. So there's always that pull.
Yeah, there's always that pull, but I feel like a lot of times, like even those kids like who do doctor, lawyer, and stuff like that, they feel like very trapped in that role. They're like, oh, it's too late, I can't change. But I think that's such bullshit, dude. We always have a choice, and we can always rewrite our stories and stuff. But anyways, back to your childhood and stuff. So your parents weren't around. Like, what else? Tell me about like school or other things.
Deep dive. This is a deep dive.
Yeah, this is your therapy session on camera.
Oh god. I would say on top of like being the poverty and like I had a hard time like communicating. I was like that shy kid, like had issues with like being able to like on top of that I would get bullied a lot because like I wouldn't be the one that's outspoken, right? I was always that quiet kid, so then kids would pick on me. So then that's like all these mitigating factors where I pretty much locked myself in my room and like I felt like I didn't want to talk to anyone.
How did kids bully you back then?
Like try to fight you, call you names. Like this is like an elementary. Yeah.
Do you have like do you remember a specific time?
Honestly, like the thing about like my childhood, like looking back, a lot of it's like black. Like it's not like
repressed.
Trauma or like a lot of it is repressed. Where it's like I don't like to dwell on it too much because like those were like my dark times where it's like how you talked about like suicidal like that was like during my like dark times.
Yeah.
Like I okay, one thing about me about my childhood, I guess I self-labeled myself as like the loner or like the black sheep.
Yeah.
Like I could never fit into like any group, especially like in elementary school and high school, especially in high school where all these other kids like I think I talked about it when I came to LA, but like the equivalent like the ABGs or like the AB whatever, like the Asians, like I was always like different. Like something was like I'm like, why aren't I like them? And that's when I started getting into like self-development, and that kind of led the way to who I am today.
Also, like you, I never really fit in with like the white kids. I didn't really fit in with, but I never really fit in with like the black. There's like different parts of different groups which I sort of fit in. I eventually like most, I guess compared to all of them, I fit in with the Asian kids, right? Eventually, but still, there was a part of me that was really nerdy. There was still another part of me that really, really enjoyed hip hop, you know? And so it sometimes gets so confusing, and it's like an identity crisis, man.
I think it's different for me because Vancouver, it's very, you come to Vancouver, Asians are pretty prominent. Mm-hmm. It's like 50% of the population.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It's like for every one white person, there is an Asian person. And there's like a 1% black population. There's like no black people in Vancouver. That's just facts.
Damn.
Yeah.
No racial, right? So up in Vancouver, do you guys have like, do white people like pick on you and stuff like that? Because you're not really the minority there.
Like in my hood, no, but I remember instances where I went out, like maybe what's compared to like LA and like San Fran, so it's like Vancouver versus like different parts of like the city.
Yeah.
I remember this one, like I was a band geek. I was such a nerd
Yo, same here, man.
But since most of like my high school was Asian, like I remember like we would like compete with different other bands. And I remember this band sat behind us. They were all white kids. And then they all of a sudden started going ching chong, and I'm like, with the eyes. I'm like, that was like my first like burnt in memory of like, why are they making fun of Asians? Like I didn't experience that before, because like my whole environment before was like all Asian. I'm like, why is this white guy trying to mimic how my parents sound like or something? That was like my first like, whoa, triggered.
Yeah, I had that ching chong shit, like, and it was really crazy because this guy used to be one of my best like kindergarten friends, but then, you know, over the years he went to a different school and something changed in high school. I mean, we used to play ball and shit, and this kid used to bully me, and I was like, what the fuck? So one day he did this ching chong shit, and honestly, I let him walk ahead. I took a fucking tree branch off the tree. I beat the fuck out of him. You know, like, well, not only that, but he was also doing it to my friend who is also Asian. So I was like, fuck you, dude. You know what I mean? And I think that's the reason why I never got picked on, was because like I've always done martial arts, but like when people take it to a certain level, it's just like, dude, that's just straight up disrespectful. And I think it's like really disrespectful to yourself if you don't defend yourself from that sort of shit, you know? It's
like how like in my head, it's like, do I bring it up and say something because I'm Asian, or do I just let it slide and that guy's gonna just get away with it because he doesn't have like Asian friends, so he doesn't like get it?
Yeah. And there's probably better ways than like beating the fuck out of someone to do it, but I don't know. It just feels like so right. I'm not gonna lie. It was hella like, it felt so good, man. But
what do you feel about the C word though? The Asian C word.
Oh, chink?
Yeah.
I'm just like, whatever.
Like, even if it's like like a non-Asian person saying it, do you let it slide, or you like, would it kind of like offset you a bit?
I would just be like, that's disrespectful. That's it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna go world star, you know? Like, I have too much to lose, man.
Right.
Or maybe I'll just fuck them up just for views and get arrested and stuff, just like Meek Mill and shit, you know? R.I.P. Meek. So we talked a little bit about your high school and stuff like that, and being a loner. How did that play into like your YouTube channel and stuff, like when you're talking about stories and whatnot?
I would say like because of like how I was quiet, I felt like I didn't have a voice. So I was so terrified of just like raising my hand so the teacher could like pick to ask me a question and stuff. And I guess YouTube was a way to me to like finally be able to like, hey, look, I have a voice now. I can stand up for myself. So my YouTube channel, when I first started, was like, if I could go back in time and talk to myself, like, what were the things that I would have said to myself?
That's really powerful, man, because you know, it's so funny as you're talking, like you're saying that you're that shy kid. Surprisingly, I
still am.
Well, yeah, but I was actually that shy kid growing up too. I never said anything for the longest time, and maybe that's the reason why I have a YouTube channel too.
No, if you think about it, like back then when YouTube was like very small, like the Niga Higas, the Kev Jumbas, they were the shy kids. Okay, maybe not Kev Jumba, but I remember Niga Higas, specifically Ryan. He was like, I remember watching an interview where his mom was like, yeah, Ryan was the always sweet, innocent kid. I never saw like this outgoing side of him. So I guess it was like an outlet where like my whole life I was like this, and now it's time to like watch, like I actually have a voice.
Yeah. Did you notice like any changes in your life when you were doing YouTube, like I guess like personal growth like type of things, or anything like that in your life?
I just want to backtrack. Like one of the reasons I started was because my grandma, when she passed away, that was like the catalyst, like that major like life point where I was like, I'm gonna do this. So when I first started, it was really tough because I got a lot of those, oh Peter, you're damn crazy. What are you doing with your life? Like, oh, that's cute, you have 20 subscribers. So I got a lot of like negativity when it came to like starting. So from the very beginning, I built up this wall where it's like I had to be like tunnel vision. I had to keep putting out content because at the end of the day, even though, you know, they said hurtful things and I cried about it, it's like I needed to keep making video after video.
What was it about your grandma like passing away that really sparked that though?
I would say just because I grew up like Asian parents, you grow up with like your grandma and that's like it's not like an uncommon thing. So I would see her like just slowly get old. Like I remember times where she would fall and stuff, and like I would have to like call the ambulance and like pick her up with my hand. This is when I was like 18. I remember like just stuff like that. And then I remember seeing her in the nursing home, and that when I remember my mom told me to just hold her hand. Like this is like her last couple days. I remember like her squeezing my hand, and that was like the last time I saw her, and I just started busting my eyes out. I remember, and then just after that, I was like, okay, what am I going to do now with my life? Like I'm going to make this channel. I'm going to do it for you, Grandma, and no matter what, it's like I'm going to stick through this thing and show you that we're just, because I come from like a poor family, and like my grandma like didn't know how to read or write. So it was like, I'm going to do this for us. I'm going to make my legacy. And no matter how much hateful stuff, I'm going to do what I love. And finally, like, life's too short. That's pretty much what it like hit me. It finally like snapped.
Yeah, it's like paying respect to your grandma, like making all her hard work and her life worth it, It's so crazy because I'm starting to see like a lot of similarities in my life and your life.
Dude, I was not expecting this, man. You almost got me like all teary.
I'm the emotional dude, man. Like, so my grandma actually passed maybe in 2006 or 2016, sorry.
In peace. And
it was very distraughting because on one hand it feels like your childhood died, like that piece of your life was gone. That thing that you always knew that took care of you is gone. It dies with your childhood, right? No, it's not. And on the other hand, as I was looking at my grandma's like casket during her funeral, I was like, fuck, what is my life about? Just like you, like, what is my life about? What do I want to do? Like, my grandma worked so fucking hard. She literally worked in a factory to save enough money to make it to America. She's growing rice and selling it just to make it to America with her 2 kids, She survived through so much. So what is my purpose in life? It's not to be miserable. It's not to be doing something I don't want to be doing. We could have stayed in China if, like, we're going to do that shit, right? So, like, yeah, I mean,
I think
that's when,
like,
yeah.
One of the things that's like, which makes me different from around the other kids in my hood and my age is because I haven't talked about this, but my parents had me late, right? Because right now they're 60.
Yeah.
Going on like almost 65. And when I was like young, like right now I have no grandparents. Like all my grandparents passed away.
Oh, wow.
And I'm only just turned 25, and I'm like the oldest in the family. So death was always like hit me a lot sooner than other people. So maybe that's why like I'm like super into self-development. Maybe that's why I'm like I think differently.
Yeah, and how you said your parents are 60 something?
Going on 64.
Dang.
Like in the back of my head, I'm like my parents are gonna pass a lot sooner than others, and I'm gonna freak out, but it's something I have to like. That's always in like the back of my mind.
Yeah, it's on the back of my mind too. Like my dad is like 70 something, right? And honestly, that's what actually inspired me to repair my relationship with my dad, because I was like, I don't know how much more time I have left. And if I live with the guilt of not repairing my relationship with my dad, it's gonna eat at me for the rest of my life. And so like, I don't know, there's this certain moment where you just realize that your parents are gonna die soon. And I hear more and more health problems with my dad, because he doesn't take care of himself. He doesn't go to the doctor. He doesn't do a lot of that shit. He eats like shit too. And I'm just like, you never know when I'm going to get that phone call to come back home and it's to bury my father. And it's very morbid, but you realize that you're going to be the new man of the household. You know, you're the one that's going to be carrying on that legacy. Sometimes it gets very overwhelming too, knowing that you have all that responsibility.
Like on top of that, like me and you crazy dudes trying to like do this whole internet thing. So it's always like it's pretty much like a common theme. It's happening over and over of like getting a safe, secure job and like being crazy.
Yeah, but when you do, I think it's like, yes, it might be crazy, but if you take enough swings, you'll make it, man. That's how I look at it. You know, you just need to take more swings in life. You need to just try more things. You need to get good people around you to support you.
That mastermind.
Yeah, it's not impossible, you know? And I gotta stop thinking that it's so far ahead. And honestly, it's just right around the corner, you know? I just need to develop a better strategy about going on things. And it's not me personally, you know? That's like the thing that I've actually been working on, is like that disconnection between like myself, like I'm not good enough. Well, no, it's not that I'm not good enough. Maybe I don't have the skills in this certain area, but it doesn't change the person I am, you know?
Like, I wanted to ask you a question. Like,
What's
since
up?
you're like, you pretty much roomed with Joe, like, did you have like constant comparison to like JK, like, and like the other people that you worked with, where there's always this sense of like inferiority or inferior complex with like, oh, they have so much more subscribers?
I still feel it. I still feel it, man.
Because if I was in your shoes, that would be me. I'd be like always comparing myself to like, just kidding. Oh no, I only have this much. Like, they're so big, they got quick, and like they did this and this, and like, why isn't my channel picking up? Like, that's like always in like the back of my head with like me comparing to myself to like other channels.
Yeah. I still feel that. Like when I vlog in front of Joe, it makes me very insecure, because like I'm just like, oh man. I mean, this is back then, like,
Yeah.
So it's been a while since I've been out of the house with Joe, but like it made me very insecure. But you realize, like, if they're true friends, they support you no matter what. And I don't think Joe's ever judged me for anything I've really done. You know, he's always been a very good friend. He's surprisingly, he's just a good homie, you know? That's why I love Joe, man. Joe, like, he invited me to his house, like, to live with him, you know? Like, I don't want to say, like, I'm like a nobody. I never had social media, like, or anything like that. And then he was just like, I just really like your mindset, and I think you'd be a good influence for a house. So I just moved in, and I took that swing, man. And then next thing you know, I have YouTube, I have Refugee Hustle, and all these other things. And, you know, yes, like, you can compare yourself, but these people actually want you to succeed too. And sometimes we forget about that. Yeah. Let me ask you, like, you're really good at outreaching toward people. Like, do you have like a mastermind or a strong group of people that really support you?
Right? Like, pretty much no, surprisingly. Like, it wasn't, pretty much, you're the first one that I actually collabed with in another country, believe it or not. So,
Yeah.
like, I think I've done like some collaborations here and there, but it was like a one-hit time, and then like we never contacted each other again. But
Yeah.
It wasn't until I met up with you that was when I was like, wait a minute, maybe I should go back at this like networking thing and just DMing people.
And I think when we first met, I never really approached it from like a business prop type of thing.
Just like
No.
buddies.
Yeah, we're just homies, you know, trying to do the same thing. And that's how I treat pretty much. That's why I hate networking. I don't do networking. I develop relationships with people, you know. Not trying to get that one night stand, trying to get that marriage material. No, but it's a long-term relationship, honestly, where we're constantly giving and receiving, and I don't keep track. I just want to help other people like me just to succeed and stuff. So it was really cool, just like seeing this guy on YouTube, meeting you for a first time, and it was just like so natural. It didn't, like, for me, like, it was just like, damn, like, we've only seen each other once, but we can really connect just through our videos and stories that we tell, like, online, you know?
Right, like that's like the, like, get rid of all the hate comments, the trolls, the Reddits, all the Pepes. Like, this is what the internet. It's all about the, like, no matter where you are in the world, like, we're able to connect.
Yeah, that's so true. Let me ask you this. So you recently did a collab with Nova Patra. How the hell did you clutch that, man? Let's get the inside scoop right here on this channel.
I don't know if I can actually like pull up like the DM of how like what was my opener.
Yeah, how did you open up the set, bro?
So if you guys don't know yet, Nova Patra is like a viral sensation that happened like pretty much overnight, and pretty much what she did was she like fapped, pretended it looked really real, but like she forgot to turn off her stream, and then people caught her fapping, but it was all planned. They're like really smart. So I pretty much just DM'd her like, hey, I'm in Vancouver, you're in Vancouver, let me make a video for you for free, and so I can share your guys' story on my channel.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the start of it.
Yeah. That's freaking awesome. When you like approach people to do a collab, or when you approach people to do something together, like how do you go about it?
Slide in the DMs. That's pretty much it. I've for every, I would say, one yes, I get like 20 no's. So that's like the ratio.
Yeah. Experiencing like your emails and stuff like that, I think you're very focused on giving to people too. I mean, I think that's the main thing I'm trying to hint at, is that you're always thinking, remember that time we were trying to do that collab with, what's her name?
Hobo Alley.
Oh my God, that was such a fail. We failed at that, dude. Or I failed at that.
Though. She's still hot in my books.
I dropped the ball on that because she emailed me back and I didn't see it. Fuck, man. But,
that would have been the game changer.
That would have been the game changer. But, like if the stars don't align, the stars don't align. We still did our collab. But, that's one thing I think, like, because I see how you approach people and stuff, and I have to give you a ton of props on that, is that you're really good at putting other people first, thinking about what's the value for them. And like,
it's all about that Gary Vee, man. The mindset. Yes. Who has the leverage? Yeah. Give,
take. Yeah. So it's just like, that's awesome. That I think that's like so underrated sometimes, because even like if you're going to a networking event, I fucking hate those, but even if you're going to a networking event, like that's so important, because we're so self-focused when we should be focused on other people around us and try and grow other people,
But that's like the normal, I guess. Like, have you heard of Mel Robbins? I'm guessing you have, right? The 5-second rule.
Oh, for PUA?
No.
Oh.
I think she was interviewed on Tim Ferriss or a couple other podcasts.
I'm actually not familiar.
Okay, well, she pretty much like, it's also based off like of how the brain is like built for like suckiness, right? Isn't meant for like to build other relationships. It's all about like me. Mm-hmm. So it's like normal to be like take. So yeah, that's like what I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, I notice that with myself sometimes too, and that's something I'm trying to break out of. Not only like necessarily taking, but realizing that.
But like, look, even with like your like subscriber base, you probably get like people who have like one subscriber and be like, hey, check out my channel, blah 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 blah, and they have like one video. Have you got those messages? I'm starting, like the bigger my channel is getting, I'm starting to get those a lot more, and it's like they just don't get it. They're super young. It's like
they just don't know how to approach it. Like I met this guy. I'm editing his video as like right now, as like during this time, but I met this guy named Tam Pham. Have you heard of him?
No.
He's really cool. He actually, have you ever heard of the Lean Startup?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, well, so he actually had dinner at this fool's house. He works with all the top influencers. He's like met Seth Godin. He's friends with Ramit Sethi. All these people I really look up to. So I would consider him a master networker. But the reason why I bring him up is because he's so giving to people. And that's the real key. Like, he emailed my refugee hustle like email a while ago, and I wrote him a huge thing. I didn't know what he would be like or anything like that. But one thing that really stood out to Tam is that he really adds value first by really delving deep into people's lives. So like, let's say, I don't know, one of Tim Ferriss's podcasts, he recommends something like, chaga coffee, for example, right? Tam will go back, try that out, that recommendation, and just be like, hey, Tim, thank you for recommending chaga coffee. It's really influenced my life in X, Y, and Z. Thank you. Like he does that initially and keeps on doing it. So if he doesn't get a reply, he still keeps on doing it. Eventually, they reply. So it's all about taking those swings like I was talking about. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I really respect about Tam is that he gives, and he keeps them in the loop. And I think sometimes we forget the value of like letting someone know how you're doing or like what worked and what didn't work. You know, that feedback is so rewarding. Do you get that? Let me ask you, like, what kind of questions do you get, or like what kind of emails do you get from people?
From like YouTube or
yeah, from everything.
I would say I get like my fair share of like the OG supporters and the subscribers are like, hey, thanks for sharing the story. And I've always tried, like, they pretty much, like, once I share my story, I feel like it makes them more comfortable, like, to share their own struggles, and then I can, like, give my own perspective to them.
Are there any stories that, like, really stick out to you?
There are some that are pretty much like I previously said, like, for example, a subscriber was like, oh, I'm 15 years old. I grew up in this household, but your story, you know, really related to me. So those are the ones that I'm like, damn, like these are the stories that I wish I would have heard when I was 15 to know that I wasn't so alone, that there's like other people out there.
Yeah, I think sometimes, I think the value for your channel too is just letting people know that they're not alone, you know, because you never know what kind of mindset someone might be in. Like, people, it feels when you're alone, you think really dark thoughts, you know?
Wait, hold up. I have this like complete segue.
Yeah, okay, let's go. Let's go.
But apparently there's one of these subscribers that knows you and you're like his uncle or something.
His uncle?
Or like you guys are relatives, and he like DMs me all like, I'm not gonna put him on blast and say his name.
Put him on blast. He's my family member. Put him on blast.
I'll tell you his name later, but he's like, I'm from Boston. He's from Boston, and he's like talking about his high school struggles and how he's going through depression and high school and stuff. I'm like, yo, man, like high school is like, there's a whole nother chapter. There's more than just high school. Like, that's just like the little drama. But yeah, that's a little fun. He's like, hey, I know that Kevin. He's like, I'm like, what? Really?
I guess I'm an uncle somewhere, but yeah. Yeah, but like I was saying, like, just like my cousin or whatever, whoever, like, it just feels so much better not knowing that you're not alone. You know what I mean? That you're not the only one going through bullshit in life, you know? I said on your channel, like, I've been that depressed kid. I've had suicidal thoughts and stuff. And it's normal, dude. It's part of life. We all have our downfalls, you know? But like I said on your channel, like, if you never know what potential you might have in 10 years, you know? Like, my goal is to help people while I watch Pornhub or take a shit, you know? And I do that through YouTube. So,
like, there's something I want to touch upon. Like, it's interesting how, like, when you were on my channel, you talked about like depression, but you coming from like that pharmacy background, you didn't like talk about like any pharmaceuticals. That you talked from a very more like cognitive based of like getting help, or like, not getting help, but like your self control, your mind versus like drugs. So I'm get your thought on that.
Oh yeah, my thoughts on like SSRIs versus like, you know, I feel like, yes, you can go down that drug route, but honestly, it doesn't solve the root of the problem, you know? Some people might have a chemical imbalance, right? But some people just need fucking support and love, dude, in their life, because no one else believes in them, right? Isn't that the real problem for a lot of people too? You know, like, so I personally, even though my sales would go up, you know, like, at the end of the day, if one of my patients cannot be on, like, if we can avoid medication, I'm all for that, dude. Because there's no such thing as a free ride. There's always side effects and stuff like that, you know? And, ironically, especially if you're a teen, like, one of the side effects for SSRIs is like suicidal ideation, you know what I mean? And so why not go the cognitive route and work on ourselves and really get that support that we need from other people? And that's why I think YouTube is such a great tool, because it makes us feel connected to people, you know, outside of those fucking stupid ass prank channels and bullshit like that. Oh my God. Yeah.
Go die, Rice Cup. I'm just kidding. I love you, bro.
Damn drama. I can imagine like Philip DeFranco being like, "Broke the habit calls out rice gum." No.
One day, bro. One day.
Yeah, but like, let me ask you straight out. Did you ever have, like, in high school and whatnot, did you ever go through depression and even suicidal thoughts?
I'm still alive, man. I would say yes. Like when I was 14, 15, like really dark. Like I just remember like crying every day, like thinking about like, if I like died tomorrow, would anyone like show up to my funeral? Like those kind of like thoughts. And one of the things that got through those times was like I went through this. I haven't talked about this at all on my channel, but I went through this weird Christian moment in my life where that helped me get through it.
Well, when you say Christian moment, what do you mean?
Like I was in like this church fellowship kind of like where I was like surrounded myself with like supportive people, but then it was way too religious, but it helped me like like we do like Bible studies, you know, like the whole like hold hands and stuff and like talk about our struggles. Yeah. So that really helped me. But then I realized, like, wait, Jesus, like, I'm all cool if you're religious, but, like, the older I get, I'm like, oh, cool, religion. But, like, I'm all about, that was the thing that helped me push me to, like, keep on going. Like, get me out of those dark times. Yeah.
Like, so that support from those people really helped you pull you through.
But then I realized those support people they're all crooks too. Like doing all because like as a Christian you're not allowed to do like this and this, but they're all like it's all shady stuff. So that's what I was like. I was like, wait a minute.
That's the thing though. Sometimes like you can do something really like I've joined culty ass programs and stuff, but there's always stuff that you can take from it. You know, you just take the stuff that's useful and whatnot. But yeah, in your group and stuff, was it people your age or like what are these people like?
They were pretty much like my age, like around my age, and it was like a very like I grew up Catholic, like that's like super strict, but it was more of like a Christian base where like we all like get up and like tell our individual stories of like how I'm struggling with like depression, drinking, or like pretty much your teenager problems that you thought like was the end of the world, and we all shared that kind of story.
And was it like, when did you notice that you were actually sort of getting better or sort of slipping out of that dark place?
I would say I think it was once the thing, I don't know about for other people, but the thing about like depression is like that line of like it doesn't really ever go away, or like you just kind of like control it rather than you're happy 24/7. So I guess once I graduated from high school, like I wasn't in that like cliquey environment anymore, and I saw like the real world. That when I was like, wait a minute, my environment is not full of assholes and clickiness. Like there's actually good people out there in the world.
Yeah, and I think like so many teenagers feel so trapped because one, you can't run away from your parents because they're your legal guardians, right? Second thing, you're stuck with people that you might fucking hate, dude, and you have to spend every single fucking day with them. You know, in college, you can just be like, peace out. You know, I don't have to see you. Maybe I have to work with you every once in a while, but there's more of a option to flee or like avoid that person, you know? But yeah, that's, and like, you're talking about depression and stuff, like, I totally relate with you about the that dark thought of like if I were to die like tomorrow, would anybody give a fuck? You know, it's pretty dark, and it's like it's not something that you want to share with people too, because then they fucking look at you all weird, you know?
But now, like now that I'm older, I'm like I use that same image as like me making a video. Like if I die tomorrow, is this video gonna impact the world? So that's how my videos have gotten better slowly over time. So it's like that. It's a cool like mindset.
It's cool because it helps you connect with people. Like people really connect with pain and struggle a lot of time. You know what I mean? And I think it's a great example of where you can take like a obstacle or something that's might not be so, I guess, positive, and flip it into something for good, you know?
And most guys go through like horrible breakups. Like at first it hurts so bad, but now it's like it hurts good because like you change. You're like, oh, I'm actually grateful for that really crappy relationship that it made me who I am today, because I know what I like and I don't like.
Yeah, but when you're in the suck, it sucks so much, dude. It's like so hard to see that like larger vision when you're actually in it, though.
Of like a bad breakup.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
I was like crying. I'm like, why did she leave me? What?
Dude, it's so funny. Breakups like are like, man, it makes you feel so self-conscious and doubt yourself more than anything. But I have to say, during those times too, that's when I had the most growth for personal growth and whatnot. Yeah. Anyways, we're coming near the hour. Is there anything that you want to say to the refugees, refugee hustler watchers?
You have a name for your supporters?
I just totally bullshitted that. But yeah, refugee hustlers, whatever.
Shoutouts to Green Tea Latte and Legend RX. What's up, bro? I see you.
Green tea latte. Okay, it just disconnected.
What was your question? Like you asked me, is there anything I wanted to say?
Yeah, is there anything that you want to say?
Let's see. How can I say something to a professional young crowd of aspiring pharmacists?
Anything you want.
I would say no matter whatever life journey you're going through, like you're not alone. Someone else is going through it. And, you know, at the end of the day, follow your gut and your intuition. Screw everyone else. You need to care about, in order to be, you know, selfless, you got to be selfish.
Exactly. Dang, mic drop right there. Yeah, I totally agree. 100%. You gotta have self-love before you gotta give to yourself before you give to others, you know? Anyways, guys, if you guys want to follow Peter, you can follow his stuff below. You know, make sure to send him a lot of dick pics. He enjoys that. No, just kidding. But seriously, follow his. If you like my content, you're most likely gonna love his content even more because he color corrects and shit, and he talks about real ass everyday topics. So make sure to follow him. And anything else you want to plug?
Kevin D, the PharmD, refugeehustle.com.
Ooh. Get give take. Awesome. Anyways, Peter, great having you on my video / podcast
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, appreciate it. Anyways, guys, as always, like, subscribe, comment, all that YouTube bullshit, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.